Oh, yeah. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. Welcome to this edition of the Feedback Loop. Um, it's the dentist edition. Like, the side of my face is just like, little. It's not swollen. It's just I can't feel it. So I do apologize if I slur a few of my words. It's definitely not because I'm on any under any sort of I'm under the influence, but it's by prescription. Um, it's uh, it's a good day to be back. We've got Katie in here. We've got Rebecca Tedgel as well. Um, we have there's quite a bit of UX here today, with a little bit of code as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in because we are running a little bit behind because of the aforementioned dentistry. I am doing fine, by the way. Not that I can feel anything right now, so maybe I'm not. But I will try not to bite my tongue as we jump into this. So go ahead and share my screen, and let's get underway. So first thing that we have is Katie, and Katie joined the program a few weeks ago, and she is working through her Fresh Market project, basically doing competitor testing. And right now she's working through different with different users from her research cohort, and she's currently testing 3 competitor sites for Fresh Market, and looking at how basically users react to those sites. And she's turned in the first version of this, basically to kind of get a grasp on whether she's heading the right direction or not. And she's tested here with Jacob, and you can see that they tested HelloFresh, DoorDash, and Lunch Karma. So when you are first of all, she's taken copious notes here. There's like 8 pages of notes on this one user interview, and or not user interview, but user. She was competitive testing with a external user. One of the things that I like here is you at the very bottom you have a few things. Like, one is notes to yourself, things that, like you said, I think you mentioned. I think I talked too much. He was pretty emotionalist, and you could tell. You picked up on when things were wrong. He laughed, and it's kind of you're beginning to learn that as you spend more time observing a particular user, you'll begin to pick up on their mannerisms. So I think that's very helpful, because if you're not paying very close attention, a laugh could be misconstrued as in a bunch of different directions. It clearly he was laughing because he was shocked that something was so wrong. I think there was a reference to a sad sandwich, which brings me to another point. There are tons of great little nuggets in this first batch of testing that you've turned in. The way that he, and for some of this I totally agree with. The way that a particular site would force you to sign in or sign up before you could actually select the meals, that would be I would find that off-putting as well. He talked about the imagery of the sad sandwich. Like, oh my God, is that what I'm going to get? The reference to the $6 mini lunch, and how it said $6 meals, and then it said it was like a mini meal, and nobody wants a mini meal. They want a meal. It's and that's all about positioning and how you talk about your product. So these things are really great. He wasn't quite sure. You get an idea of like, oh, I have to order this every time. And so for DoorDash, he said, He wouldn't use it because it was too much work and he had to do it all the time. And then for HelloFresh, he was asking, "Gosh, do I have to do this? I can't just order once. I have to order like for a week." So it's kind of like the two sides of the same coin like clashing, which I thought that was interesting, and it kind of shows you like the mental state of the customer. Like he had warmed up to the idea of doing it like a set it and forget it by the time he got the DoorDash. The other thing I'd mention is you said that he had experience with DoorDash, but not with the other two. I would always ask ahead of time. Uh, hey, I believe this one was James. Hey, or no, Jacob. Hey, Jacob. We're gonna walk through a few sites today. We're gonna walk through HelloFresh, DoorDash, and Lunch Karma. Are you familiar with any of these sites? Are you a user of any of these sites? And he would have said, "Oh yeah, I use DoorDash." Okay, let's start there. And the reason I say that is I like to use familiarity as an icebreaker. So you shift that to the front. You still have the same questions. You're just asking. You're just basically going in a slightly different order. But you go with that familiarity, and that gets them talking. Not that it appears that you had an issue with Jacob talking, because you have 8 pages of notes, which is again impressive. The other thing I like is the fact that when we get down here to the bottom, you've got this breakout of main pain points, and you have main pain points. You have positives. These are the things that I want to lift out for when you begin to do your competitive analysis. This is what I want to see. I want to see the pain points. I want to see the positives. Like, what are they doing wrong? What are they doing right? And that should be our observations about the company. So I really think you're heading in the right direction here. I would continue doing these. You've done one. I would get 2 more under your belt, and that way you have something to distill down from. You can't do comparison between the different the different testing sessions that you have with just one. Like, you need to compare 2 and 3 sessions against one another and find the common threads. So while this could have been a great session, it's not enough to just have the one. You need something to compare it against so you can find the threads and begin working with people. James's experience with DoorDash, you might have Clara come in, and she's not familiar with any of it. So what's her experience? What is it like as a non-user of these services? What is it like trying to work your way in? So yeah, I think you did a good job here. I know you've got a series of questions related to the stakeholder, like a second round of stakeholder questions, and I think that that's a great thing to do. For those that are following along, Katie is in the midst of performing her competitive analysis, and after she's done observational research. She had a first round of stakeholder interviews. She's done competitive research. She's done the heuristics testing. She's done competitive testing. Now she's going to be distilling all that information down, and she discovered, wow, there's some more questions that I would like to ask. This is the time that you do that. You go back to the stakeholder and you dig in with more questions before you begin prescribing, okay, here's what we're going to do. And the reason is, every bit of research that you do will unlock some unknown or some known unknowns. Some new questions will pop up. And you're trying to basically grow the amount of knowledge you have to where it will eventually be greater than the amount of knowledge that you don't have. And every time you have these questions come up, that's an opportunity that you've now discovered, oh wait, there's something new that I don't know. I need to go ask that. It's not something that you want to go back every day knocking on the door. You want to time it. But if you've got a bank of 4 or 5 questions, I would say that that's definitely worth reaching back out and talking with those stakeholders. So good job here, Katie. Keep it up. I think you've got a really good format. Let's jump over to Rebecca. So Rebecca is circling back on her My Click Shift project. She's got a project where she's working on a product for managing your timesheets and basically when people punch in and punch out. So she's looked at the competitors. So there's Kronos, there is Ultimate Software, and there is Workday. Now, you can see that she has a lot of information here about each. So she has an overview for Ultimate Software. She has a competitive breakdown talking about positioning and how they're different. And then she has a SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I have restructured how I personally approach this because I really do believe that it's very hard to accurately create a SWOT analysis for a company that you are not part of. And that is because, if I come over here, when we look at the SWOT analysis, there are internal things that we know about ourselves, we know our strengths and weaknesses, and then there are external things that everybody knows about us, the opportunities and the threats. So, when somebody tries to talk you into taking a job, they're going to sell the opportunities. When somebody tries to talk you out of leaving a job, they're going to sell you on the threats. But only you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So I really focus the SWOT analysis on the company that you belong to. You're going to take everything that you've picked up along the way regarding a competitor, and that's going to tell you where the opportunities and threats are for your company. But only you know what those strengths and weaknesses are, and you specifically know those through doing observational research, stakeholder interviews, competitive analysis, and so on. So I really think that the SWOT, you've got SWOT analysis work written here, but I don't necessarily know that it is really applicable here because unless you're part of the Ultimate Software team, you don't have really an inside view on that. And the trick is we oftentimes think, oh, well, yeah, I totally know what that company does. And somebody pointed out this morning that from start to finish, everything that they use for the deployment of their site is a Microsoft product. And who would have seen that coming 5 years ago? Well, the people inside Microsoft probably would have, but the people on the outside would not have, because we are not privy to the internal machinations of these companies. So for me, I like your overview. I like the fact that you understand the positioning and the primary audience and how it's different. That's all great. That's like a company overview. That's like you need to distill it down into the really important things, but that's the type of company overview I'm looking for. In addition to, what are the opportunities for that company? What are the threats to that company? But so far as like what their strengths and weaknesses are, I don't necessarily know, without being on the inside of those companies, if we can really write a SWOT analysis about those companies. But you can about yours. You can about yours because you know your strengths and weaknesses, and you've also done the research to understand what the opportunities and or threats are that are out there. So that's my 2 cents on this. I think that you've got a lot to work with, but I would not necessarily encourage you to go down the path of, hey, I'm going to dress up these and make these all SWOT analysis work, because I just don't think it's accurate. And when we come down, you've got conclusions and opportunities. This is great, okay? This, what I'm really looking forward to here, though, is out of this, what questions did you have? Like, we never answer all of our questions. There's always this zone. I'm going to come over here to this particular chapter. There's always this zone of unknown unknowns. There's stuff that I don't even know that I don't know it yet. But there are known unknowns. Sorry. There are known unknowns that you have scratched enough of the surface to see there's a question beyond it that you don't know. Where are those at in this? Because the known unknowns are really what's going to sorry, that's Tegel. The known unknowns are what's going to power that next wave of user research. Of course, you've already done your user research, but my point is, if you have known unknowns that boiled up out of this, then I would include it in this particular document. Okay? But I think that overall, you've got a really great start. You've got a lot of great content, but I would shy away from this SWOT analysis piece on the individual companies, knowing that that really belongs to your company. I would totally encourage you to do a SWOT analysis piece there. All right, so one second. That was just CouchBot saying that we were live. Let's go now over here to Tegel's project. Now, Tegel picked up the CodePen example from yesterday, and she said that she's broken some stuff. So I'm going to pull her code in. But we're also going to look at this. This is called Lozads. What Lozad? I can't pronounce. Sorry, man. I can't pronounce anything. Lozad. Lodaz. No, it's not Lodaz. Lodzad. Lodzad. I can't. Sorry, I can't make the. I can't make the noises with my mouth. My mouth is not working. But this is a lazy loader. It is utilizing something called an intersection observer. In JavaScript, there are all sorts of little APIs. There's a data API. There's math. Well, intersection observer is one of these things. And the one thing that I like about this is the fact that, beyond just the fact that a lot of people seem to use it, it is it helps you with the areas where this is not compatible. Like, intersection observer is not recognized by Safari. Okay, so you have that problem, but this will polyfill back to fix those issues. So I feel like you could, in fact, just write some plain vanilla JavaScript, but then you also have to include the polyfill bits that make it more complex. So what we're going to do here is we're going to not only look at Tegel's nav, but we're also going to speed up Tegel's site. And the reason I say that is, let's go over here to VS Code. I'm going to, oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to turn that, thanks, appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to turn the live port off, just for a second. Just turn the live port off, or go live. I'm going to pull, let's just check our status. Okay, git pull origin master. So these are Tegel's changes. Now we're going to go live. Now, okay, it loaded a little faster, to be completely honest with you, but it's still like dragging. Okay, we haven't even seen the video load yet. So the video's just now loading. Like, the page is still trying to load. Like, it's just taking forever, right? It is loading a little better than it did yesterday, but it's not great. And you can tell that, like, it's struggling. Like, when I refresh this, it like keyed in on the Illustrator file. Like, it's not even properly loading the CSS. Okay, so it has some real issues. Yes, we're going to get to this. Don't worry about this at all. We're going to get to that. That's fine. And as a matter of fact, let's fix that first. Because this framework plugin is so great. It's going to take like 2 seconds to get it in. But we've got to fix this nav bar first. So let's jump over there. And, oh, that's me. All right, so let's see here. Let's just go all the way to the top, and let's see what she's got. Okay, so we've got menu. We've got social. Okay, so social is inside of the LI. And maybe that's what we mean. It's like it's a drop down. Nope. That's definitely, and Melanie's thing showing up here. That's weird. Yeah, so let's get that out of there. Let's put that in there for a second. I suspect what we really have going on here is this. Oh, so okay, so the ULs were just. I see what was happening there. We had multiple ULs. Okay, we'll save that. Come back over. Refresh. We should have those icons here at the top. We don't, though. So I'm going to go in and inspect element and see what's happening here. All right, so there's our header, and that's fine. We have our class of logo, and our class of logo right now, it needs like a width, like 25%. That, and I'm gonna hack around here a little bit. I just need to get this. So we're going to say float left. And that fixes the fact that it was not on the same line. So this is menu, and it says float right. Max height, whatever. I'm just going to close these down. And now I have this menu. And I'm going to say float right, and I can't tell where it is, but it's definitely here somewhere. Okay. All right, so that marker is there. I'm not sure why it's not showing up at the moment. We're gonna get to that. The big thing here is I can come back through, and I can focus on header. And when I focus on header, I'm going to say something like grid, or not grid, sorry, display flex. Okay. Now, what I'm really interested in is, can I select everything? And I can. Those social media icons are still not showing up. But they're supposed to be like right there. It says overflow hidden. Okay. Okay. Let's do ourselves a favor and get rid of these floats as well. Actually, I'm just gonna refresh. Oh, and there's the blinky thing. Okay, that's the thing we absolutely hate. Like unstyled, and then it comes in. It's really slow. So let's go over here to the header, and let's just fix a lot of stuff. So we're gonna come in to CSS. I'm gonna say okay, find header. Okay, so here's our header. Display flex. Oh, sorry. So that displays flex. So now, like, all that's up in the corner. We still haven't figured out why social's not showing up. I do want to look for that. Social. Okay. So, I'm gonna do something hacky here for a second, and I'm gonna say dot social background color green. Save it. And I'm not seeing where it could be. And that's interesting. All right, so let's come back over here. That's me. Let's get back to header. And now we're going to say to display. Oh, not display. What am I supposed to do? Oh, justify content space between. Save it. So now, so what's interesting is it sees menu. Menu is somewhere up here. So let's get in here and let's get this social. Okay, so social's right there. Social's up there. Looks like you are. HVR grow. HVR grow. I'm not sure what HVR grow is. I'm just going to delete it for the moment. Yeah, it looks like you haven't like called in your icons. That would be my first suspicion, is that you just haven't called in your icons. I could be wrong. But let's see here, HVR. Yeah, so we've got to call in our icons to make that work. So I think that's probably the big issue there. Let's hold on to that though. I want to look at our depth here, and let's look at the depth of the logo. And the logo is pretty tall. Let's go to the header. So the header looks like it's following the logo. The logo, I don't know, is the logo just tall? No, it's a square. So that's weird. Where is this height coming from? Is it coming from this marker? No, that's not it. I'm gonna have to come back to that because I'm not sure where that height is coming from. Because if we go to logo again, I'm just gonna note both of these out just for the moment. And oh god, okay, I gotta fix that CSS. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, okay, so let's refocus though. Let's take a moment and refocus. And Yeah, the markers for hover animation, social logos are not there for some reason. Okay, so let's do ourselves a favor and fix this CSS issue. See that thing? That's not going to happen anymore. That's not going to happen anymore because we are going to use this library loadaz or lozad. Maybe my mouth can make noises again. My mouth can make noises. I'm just a little loopy. But this is super lightweight. How lightweight is it, Chris? 1 kilobyte. 1 kilobyte. So this is just a simple bit of JavaScript. I would say, I will tell you straight up, we could just write this on our own. We could. But we don't have to because this exists. And I'm going to use it because the speed that this gives us just by existing is insane. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here to usage, and I'm going to add this. Sorry, I'm not going to add that. I'm going to add, I'm just simply going to CDN this, okay? So CDN, lozad, we could npm install this. We could use Bower or Yarn, but Tedgel's project is not like a Gatsby project, so I'm just going to CDN this for now. It is right there. I could simply pull that over, and there's me again. But for right now, we're just going to do this. So now we have linked to the CDN for lozad. The next thing we need to do is we need to come all the way to the bottom, and we're going to instantiate it. And just like we initialized automate on scroll AOS, we are going to do the same here. And to get that to happen, I believe it's that one. So I'm just wanting to make sure that we've got it right. Yeah, instantiated as follows. And now we'll come over and we'll put that right in here. Okay. Now it might seem like that's all that needs to happen, but let's first talk about what Intersection Observer does. Intersection Observer basically, and I gotta come over here. Intersection Observer is basically saying when this gets to here, load the video. Okay, so it's watching these, and as the tag comes into view, that's when it says, okay, now load it. So rather than loading everything on the page, you're just loading the one little block. So what we're going to do here, and I think I saw some depth over here that, sorry, it's these things come and go, so I want to, oh, the menu class. The menu class is deep. Interesting. So is the social class, though. Social class itself is deep. But let's get this going. So what we need to do is we need to change a couple of things. One, we're looking for SRCs. So I'm going to say SRC. And the first thing we see is we see this SVG. I'm not really concerned about the SVGs in the background. They're pretty small files. What I'm mostly concerned with are these iframes that are connected to Vimeo and loading in these relatively large pages, or large files. So now what I want to do is I want to come back over here to the documentation, and it's basically saying I need a class of lozad And this data source, instead of pointing to an image or pointing to a source, I'm going to point to data source. And basically what data source is, what this framework is doing is as that item rolls into place, it switches it from data source to source. And then it's loaded. And it's magic. So we're going to do that right now. And how many are we going to do it to? Well, we're going to do it to a lot. There are 63 instances of this existing. And I need the iframe still there, Chris. So don't get too cocky with it. All right, so that's the first one. Let's continue on down. I'm not worried about SVGs. I am worried about these videos. I'm not going to worry about the... I will. So... So here we've got a lot of work to do because we're going to replace this for all of the mood board images. And there are, I believe, 12. So there's those. Let's skip over the SVGs. Not necessary. Okay, same thing for storyboard. Gotta do them for all the storyboard images. But trust me, I tested this out. I don't want the MDN reference to cancel. I tested this out last night, and it just worked like a charm. So I'm taking this down relatively familiar territory here. I do apologize. Takes me a minute to get this going. All right, here's another one. Video. Those are SVGs. I'm not really worried about it. I am worried about the video here. Okay. And again, it's just one little simple widget. And the only reason I haven't just replaced all the source files is I don't really want to mess with the SVGs. But any image or like in this case, it's really the videos. There's so many videos with this project. Most of you will have like 1 or 2 videos in your entire project tops. Tedril has a ton because she's a really talented videographer, and her project is related to videography. So when you have stuff like that, you can also use this on audio, I believe. Got a couple more videos here because there is no chill to our video game. That's the Davey Award. All right, we don't necessarily need that. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And now we're going to go over here. I'm going to see what this does. So I'm going to refresh. instant. It already loaded. Now, it didn't load the first screen. And I did something. What did I do? I bet I loaded it on the first graphic. I broke something. So there it is. Let's go back. It's saying that I've broken something here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't actually want to load it here on the first one. I think I want to leave that one alone because I have to have that load. Or maybe... It's taking too long. That isn't the spiffy performance I was experiencing. So let's take a peek at this. Save it. Let's restart go live as well. So we're restarting it. It's still taking a minute to load. It's as if I've missed something. But do you see how it's now loading as you go down rather than trying to populate all of it at the same time? You will end up with things like this where you have the space being held and then it loads. You can go in and individually tune that, but it's going to load a lot faster if you don't. I am wondering. So we've got this. It's still doing that. I don't know. It's faster, but it's not quite as fast. It's not loading that image quite as fast as I want it to. But it's definitely faster than where it was yesterday. So I got some more tweaking to do. But I do believe that this resource pays dividends down the road because lazy loading, nobody wants to wait on their site to load ever at all. So anything that you can do to minimize the amount of time that people are waiting on the site to get started and load, the better off you're going to be. So I'm going to leave that. I'm still going to come back here, Tedjil, and I'm going to spend some more time with this because I can't figure out why your social media icons aren't showing up. I'm not sure if it's like they're embedded in the background image or we just forgot to add them, because yesterday you had Font Awesome in here, and I don't see Font Awesome now. And it looks like you're still loading it. So, oh, well, wait, there it is. Class FA. All right, so, we got multiple classes. That could cause a problem. Let's see here. It's doing something. All right, and I really don't think you can call classes twice on a file or on a div. I think you got to call it once and kind of have your head together on what you're doing. So they're there. There they be, and it's because you had it in two classes. This happens all the time, so just be aware of that. but we've still got a lot of depth here. Still got more depth than I really want to see. And it's not those. So oh, that's interesting. Margin bottom. There it is. It's on the LIs. Margin bottom LI. Ta-da! All right, so this is still bugging me a bit. So there's some tweaking that can be done here, particularly with like the width. Like the width here is super wide, and that's gonna directly impact like where these things are. So again, let's take account of where we've gotten ourselves. We've gotten the nav bar cleaned up. We've got the social media icons in there. We've got this lazy loader activated to where we don't have that weird style blinky thing going on. Big strides forward. I think we still got a little bit of work to do with the nav bar, but I'm going to push it up so that you can have an opportunity to get in there and work with it, because I know that there's some other things going on. But before I forget to do the thing, I need to go check out the LIs. Sorry, my lip is so numb. Let's see. Header LIA. Is that what it is? Technically. But the header LI, right? That's left. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what if we just said 20? Oh, yeah. Gotta get rid of that. Margin bottom, wherever it is. Header LI. Maybe that margin. I think that's just the LI. So I need to say header LIA. And what if we just said margin bottom 0? Or social LI. Why isn't that working? Is it part of the UL or is the L? Oh. I can't remember where that was. I know that we had it. We had it. identified just a second ago. But where is that depth coming from? Could it be the menu? It is the menu. It is the menu. If we get rid of that. Yep. Okay. So menu li. That was weird. It did the little blinky thing again. I'm gonna push this up. I believe we've still got some issues to work on here to address, but it is a lot further along now than it was just a short while ago. So I'm gonna push this up. Tedral, you'll let me know where you end up on this header. This is still taking forever to load, which bums me out because last night it was like fire fast. But we will take another stab at this in a bit. So get status. Get add. Get commit. Updates from loop. Get push. Origin master. Oof. All right, voila. Folks, I'm going to go rest my face because it feels weird. And I will chat with all of you tomorrow. Take care.